And we're back. Another week, another episode of Bonding with Boogie and the Precious Perspective. And of course, I'm here, Boogie Ogun, Himothy, him for knee, him the G, him who doesn't hide, him who seeks, him with the shortest arms, him still with the longest reach.
For sure.
And of course, we have my boy.
Precious, with a precious perspective. And as Boogie said, we are back. Per usual, I'm excited. But in this particular time, I am very excited because we've had a lot of dope guests on this show. I appreciate all the artistry. Bonding with Boogie and a Precious Perspective is for artists, all of you, to come out, share your talents, share your voice, share what you're willing to with us. And today we have someone very special, near and dear to my heart, not only because of her artistry and dedication to it, but because she's allowed me to witness it and grow, watch her growth, and aided me and my growth. And so with that being said, I'm going to let my guest introduce herself, tell you all where to find her. Miss Christal Luster.
What's up, everybody? I don't have a cool intro like they do, so I'm just Christal.
She's cool.
Yeah.
And I can be found on all social media platforms at Christal Luster. And yeah, I'm fun. I'm fun.
Sure.
I'm funny.
For sure.
I have a lot of tricks in my bag. I always say things that don't exactly come out the way that I intended when I played it in my head.
Yeah. She said she's fun. A lot of tricks in her bag.
I am a singer.
I was like, whoa, cuz.
I'm a singer. I'm a songwriter. I'm a musician. I am a photographer and videographer. I'm a content creator. I'm an actress. I'm a speaker. I'm an author, spoken word artist. I do all the creative things. I don't do windows. And I try not to do trash, but that single girl life, trash has got to be taken out. So
for sure. And
why do you look so pained?
Because I'm almost tearing up a little bit.
Okay.
And I think I'm tearing up because this is my cousin, guys. This is our cousin.
Yep.
And just to see and just to not know, and it kind of hit me out of nowhere to see your following and to see your growth as far as like how funny you are now. And
Because that was shade.
yeah. Yeah. So honestly, and we're close. We were close cousins, like in the house every weekend. Yeah. We grew up together. So if someone had told me 10 years ago, Christal may be one of the funniest people you know, I would have told them you're crazy. But then again, I guess that's my fault for just
hold back, cuz.
This is not my intro.
Yeah, but that's how I knew you, though. I knew you how I knew you. That of course, we as we got older, we didn't kick it as much and talk as much.
That's because I was Josie Jr.
Facts. And I guess to see you not
Become
be
Christal.
in that light, you know what I'm saying? Like you're actually who I wish you were in kindergarten. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, all right. I'm gonna reel my boy in some because I understand exactly what he is saying, just in a more tactful manner. First and foremost,
the quiet parts out loud.
My bad.
First and foremost, like he was saying, appreciating your sense of humor, right? Because I think coming up, you were the oldest of us, and also we're cousins, but when we grew up in that space, it was a big sister vibe. You came with the games and the entertainment, and for me, it's dope to see you in the light that you are now, because kind of like you said, you were Josie Jr. I feel like in these last several years, you've become Christal Luster. Mm-hmm. And I love that because that's who I always saw, like from the shorties, when you was making up games and when you would come and kick it.
She
and
was
we
creative.
would do the fashion shows for my granny.
Oh,
like,
God, no.
Listen,
so,
we didn't watch TV. We kept it. We was in the game the whole
we
year.
did. We may have watched a movie. Maybe.
Blockbuster Fridays.
Yeah, Blockbuster Fridays.
But
for sure.
other than that, Saturday through Sunday, we was playing
The
games
kids
the whole
really,
time.
we really was keeping people entertained back
the
then.
whole time.
And so I'm gonna ask you, where did that, I guess, and don't take offense to it, please, when I say character, because it's obviously who you are. It's your nature. It's your person. Like I said, we've been knowing you since
We
a
were
kid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, where does that, for lack of better words, I'm not even gonna say character, more so the energy. Where did that stem from? Where did it come from? Where did you first notice it?
I mean, like most things that are awesome, I got it from Amazon. I'm just kidding.
I love Amazon. I love Amazon.
No, like my wonderful cousin pointed out, just this surprise.
That's my shit.
I am actually funny. No, there was a definite evolution. You know, I think when we were kids, you know, you got to remember just my primary upbringing. So I spent half the week at Auntie Helen's house with y'all, and the other half of the week I was at home, and I was the youngest by a lot. So I was always surrounded by adults doing adult stuff. And I felt this pressure to act like them to fit in at home. And I think that's where the seriousness came in. And then, of course, growing up, you know, the first place that I really found community, because I didn't have community at school. Like, you know, y'all were kind of cool in y'all circles. I wasn't. I was the bullied when we were at St. B. And so, like, I didn't really find community until I started going to church. And so that was that became my identity, because I wanted to feel included.
And now you just taking me back, because you did have, I felt like I was getting not bullied, but I felt like when I used to go to your little church events and meet, what was his name? What's his name? Third.
Oh my God.
But I felt like, damn, am I not supposed to be around these people? Because that was your,
That was her
that was your
community.
community, and those were your people. But I get exactly what you're saying.
Well, and it's so funny because now looking back, I think back to how even though I felt included, I still didn't feel like I quite fit, right? And so me and Stephanie have this conversation pretty often, because it's no secret I've evolved quite a bit over the past few years in particular. I think hitting 30 really changed some things for me.
Sure.
And then ever since then, it's just been a blossoming. And so I feel like she asked me one day, she was like, what do you think old Christal would think of you now? And I'm like, oh, she would hate me. Oh, she would hate me. Older Christal was very black and white, very much rule follower, which I'm still a rule follower, but I am a lot more relaxed. Yeah. I live for comedy. I'm always making jokes. And I feel like I'm finally comfortable in my own skin and who I am. I'm not trying to be somebody else.
So how was that, like, you know, I've always been, how was it keeping that bottled in kind of for a while? How was that holding that to you, knowing that you were trying to meet certain guidelines, or even just follow certain rules, or even just uphold the image of what you expected, what people expected you to be, or what? How did it feel to, like, have to, well, not have to, but how did it feel to be keeping that inside? And how did it feel to, like, finally release that and just, you know, be who you are?
Man, I remember the first time I, like, really saw a glimpse of that, I think was probably on social media, to be honest, during the pandemic. The first time I had a video go viral, and I was like, yo, this is nuts. And it's kind of crazy, right? Because during the pandemic, everything was shut down. So I'm not, like, in front of people.
Okay.
But now I'm getting audience with all of these people that I've looked up to. Like, Tabitha Brown started commenting. And then, like, when I started really getting out there, I started getting followed by celebrities like Columbus Short, or I started having Missy Elliott commented on something I said, and Michael B. Jordan laughed at one of my videos, and just different things like that. I'm like, this is kind of crazy. And I guess, to be honest, going back to your question, I never really felt like I knew what was inside of me.
Facts.
But it wasn't until I think living with Karen helped me understand that. Like, I truly felt seen for the first time.
She had a way.
She had a way. She had a way.
Oh my God, she was so amazing.
She was just the most amazing person.
And if she was, rest in peace, my cousin, but if she was still alive with the wave of the internet, and
Oh,
I
man.
could see Cameron finding
Yeah.
a wave in it. I don't
for
know.
sure.
I don't know what it would have been, but just her personality talking on a camera, I most definitely.
We would have had a show together. We would have had to,
sure.
because the whole reason I have a platform is because of her. This is the stuff, the reactions and stuff that I do. I used to do that with her every day. I used to make it my goal. I would get out of school, go to Clintex, and I'd be like, in my mind, I'm gonna make Karen laugh today. Whatever I got to do. So I would just go and I'd be like, Karen, look at this video. She'd be like, I'm busy. Come on, look at this video. And then I'd be commentating while the video was going on. Like, I literally did that with her. And so after she passed away, you know, my way of coping was doing it online. I just carried it over. And so like, we lived together. I lived with her and Zeke and the kids around like 2011.
Yeah, that was the house over there
in Munster. Yeah. So we were living together. And for the first time, like we were in each other's space. And she became my friend. And it's different. Like, you know, you got sibling love, but when your sibling becomes your friend, it's different.
It wasn't hard to make Karen a friend at all.
At all.
It wasn't hard to do that.
And she saw me. She never, you know, back in the day, and I still do, but I'm a lot better now, but I talked a lot back in the day. I was very talkative. I was very still bubbly like I am now, but I was very excitable and I had all these ideas, and sometimes that energy would make people uncomfortable because they didn't know what to do with it. Karen never like tried to silence me. She always created and held space for me.
She loved you for you.
She loved me for me. And she did that for everybody. But for me, for the first time, I felt safe to just be Christal. And so I feel like I had been chasing that ever since she passed. I had been chasing a space to just be myself. And it's landed me here, divorced, starting over, but in this creative career that has changed the game for me.
And so I'm going to kind of take it back a little bit in regards to, it's funny to hear you say that. So again, this conversation is just so I'm saying a million things in my mind right now, but I feel like I've always saw Christal. Like I saw where you were uncomfortable in the skin, so to speak, of like trying to, you know, adapt to certain standards. But this woman who you are, I feel like my relationship was always with her because I knew she was there. This to me, and you don't even know how proud, how much joy it fills me with to see people that I know randomly sharing and posting your stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Just because, like I said, I've always looked to you, if not anything, but for creative inspiration. Because like you said, you've been a singer, spoken word artist, musician in a sense of instruments, playing the guitar, actress, all this different type of stuff. So for me, I always felt like once Christal, and I, again, from a shorty to being a grown man to see you, but I always knew once you got out of that space of looking outward and kind of that external thing, once the environment stopped messing with you, you were going to be so dope because you had so much variety to yourself. So it's like, shit, I can entertain me, like, because you're wearing all of these different hats. And so my next question, how did that come about? Take me to the beginning of your creative journey in a sense of writing to where you are today. As now, I feel like everything you are now is qualified as a content creator.
Yeah.
But you do so much in there. So start me from the beginning. Where did that come from?
Well, I wrote my very first song in 5th grade.
Okay.
And started a singing group with a couple of my friends. And then they kicked me out my group and took my song.
Shit, shorty.
It was rough.
That is crazy.
I was like, what? It was crazy.
They taught you how to industry work early.
Man, like, I got a real life example in 5th grade. It was crazy. But from there, like, I mean, granted, I was a terrible singer back in 5th grade. Y'all remember Miss Brown? Miss Brown, she used to do like the crafts, like art art class, but then she was also over like the choir and stuff.
think
Little short brown lady with long like hair,
Black gray hair, maybe.
like black gray hair.
Yeah, I think I do remember. Did she have glasses?
I don't remember.
Maybe so many. Yeah, that's so long ago.
Very far back,
Man,
for you. But yeah, so we, you know, I was in the choir. I was in Chicago Children's Choir. I was a terrible singer, but I just loved to sing because Karen used to sing to me all the time. So I was just like obsessed with singing, obsessed with music, and I started getting into writing because I had a bit of a breakdown in 6th grade. This is where my love of cameras. Remember, I always told you I was obsessed with cameras as a kid. I don't know if you all remember Granddaddy. Do y'all remember my granddaddy?
Yeah.
Precious Senior. Yeah. So he had this, when we go over his house, he had this old school camera, and I was obsessed with it. It didn't work anymore. I hate that I don't still have it because it's probably vintage and worth a lot of money now. But back then I was just obsessed with having it. And so like for Christmas, I would always ask for cameras. And so that particular year is when digital cameras first came out, and I got one. My grandfather had sent to me for my birthday, and I brought it to school. Why would I do that? Why would I bring it to school? I was excited, but like that was stupid. And somebody took it as a joke, and I freaked out because I just knew my mama was gonna beat my ass. Like, and so Miss Williams sent me to go see the guidance counselor because I was just having a
she said it was like they understood that you was messed up about it, but they didn't understand. Like they said, "Nah, get her."
Like so somebody else needs to talk to her. You go. So I went to go talk to Mr. Kevin and Miss Rachel. Only 2 white people in our school at the time.
That was before Mr. Pancake.
Mr. Pancake.
Continue your story.
I'm gonna have to go back to that. Yeah. But yeah, so I went and talked to them, and for the first time in my life, adults listened. It blew me away. They were just like, "Why don't you tell us what's going on?" I'm like, "You're not gonna talk over me? You actually want to hear what I have to say? Cool, I like this." I was calm. I just
got
talked
paid
it
to do
through.
that.
I mean, they did, but listen, shout out to my therapist.
Yeah, on me.
I don't have a problem. I pay my therapist every other week. I live for them sessions. I need it, you know? And so that started this understanding of emotional and psychological intelligence, which led me to the tool of journaling. And within that was my coping mechanism. I would feel, I would write. I would feel, I would write. So 8th grade, I wrote our 8th grade song. It was dope. That class loved it. We performed it at our candle ribbon ceremony.
That's super dope.
And, you know, went to high school, kept writing, picked up guitar, wrote some really angsty teenager songs, and started recording. Those were also terrible. But, you know, God rest Karen's soul. She was so proud of me, blasting my terrible music. And, you know, I struggled with the music part, I think, by and large, because I had terrible stage fright because I was so obsessed with being accepted. And that translated right onto the stage. And so I would be just terrified of being there. And then 2, on top of that, with my writing, I had very emotional music, very emotional poems. I found my first ever journal. When I tell you the embarrassment, are you not embarrassed?
Talk about cringy.
Oh my God. I'm going to probably expose myself online for money because apparently I'm that person. No, not like that. Not like that. I was talking about reading my embarrassing things
do not be
online. I am not doing an
OnlyFans.
No. Although somebody did hit my inbox
That's
yesterday.
cool.
It was like,
it wasn't
pics,
it wasn't
$500.
Yeah.
I was like, let me go get this pedicure. Anyway, but, you know, I'm thinking about sharing some of those early pieces because when I tell you they were bad, I look back and I'm like, well, damn, who hurt you, Chris? Who hurt you this bad? Why were you filled with this emotion? And so I always struggled with that part. You know, that was probably the biggest piece that people didn't understand was the emotion. I was very passionate. Even when we would be, you know, doing our improv games on the weekend, like I would get in the character. Yeah. I was the princess.
And when things wasn't going,
you know what I'm saying? I would stop. No. You supposed to say that was my line.
That
you
same
supposed to
camera
say,
meltdown.
You know what I'm saying?
Sorry.
You ain't
supposed to do it this way. Oh my God, you're right.
I was just passionate.
Movie director.
I was passionate about it, you know? And then like
you were,
I do this thing and it has not changed. It frustrates the hell out of me. I absolutely hate it. But I do this thing where even if I'm angry, tears come. I can't It's automatic. I am a crier. I'm an emotional crier. If you cry right now, I would cry. Go ahead, cry.
It's crazy. I was almost about to cry like 2 or 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'll wrap that shit up because I don't really like all that crying and shit.
I hate it. I be in therapy, hold it back, and she be like, my therapist be looking at me funny. My throat be hurting. You ever hold it in your crying? And so I was like, let me go ahead and let these tears fall. She was like, I was waiting. I don't know why you made it weird. But
most definitely looking at you like
because I'm sitting here looking like I'm holding in a sneeze.
I need to call the ambulance?
What's wrong with you? But I couldn't. That was like the big thing that like just didn't fit. You know, I was misunderstood in my home because nobody was emotional at home.
I think it was also a creative disconnect. And that's another reason that I feel like I'm happy to see you in the space that you are today. Because Essations, amazing business.
Oh, yeah.
Great hair care products, shameless plug. One of the happiest moments for me is when you told me you left. When you told me you left Essations, I knew at that point Christal is here. Like, you're in your own space now, because now you're not, that was in my mind the first chain really breaking a big chain, because it was me understanding that you had been there your entire life. You feel me?
Literally grew up there.
To know that, oh damn, she's saying not necessarily F this, but I'm on to something else, and that something else is me. Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, she finna go off. And it's been that since. And I know you've had your moments, but again, I think that you were one of the first people creatively that I think that I saw choose their creativity, and hard, yes. But to see it today is like, well, it's working. Yeah.
I think so like getting into that, right? I was misunderstood in the home. I was definitely misunderstood in the workplace. Because at the time I was just trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, essentially. I'm sitting here at Essations, my family's business, and it's just not working because I'm unhappy. And it's not like, I love my family. I'm grateful for all those years, because it's why I had the bond that I had with my family, but also some of our extended family. Like I look back at all of the days that I would see Auntie Helen or that I would see Nancy. You know, if we hadn't worked together, how would I have been that close to Nancy? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was always over Auntie house, but like, would I have seen Nancy outside of that? Probably not. And Nancy is one of my closest cousins. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm grateful for those things. And I'm grateful that Essations taught me how to run a business. But there were so many days that I would sit dreaming about living a creative career and just being this person that I was trying to understand on the inside. And I feel like, you know, I was still writing, I was still, you know, picking up music and stuff like that. But it wasn't until 2016 was the game changer for me. So, you know, I'm still at Essations full time at this point. I had been there for like 4 years since I graduated college full time. And I put out my first book, 30 Days of Change. And I put out my first EP, The Expression. And I'm like, all right, I'm going after this thing. And it really wasn't doing much. You know what I'm saying? But I could say I did it.
You was
I'm
doing
a published author. Like,
sure.
I got a record out. And then that summer came, and my friend Tanya Townsend, she's a playwright. She was like, hey, I need a singer. Why don't you try out for this play? And I'm like, I'm not an actor. And she's like, just try it out. I think you could do it. And so I did it. And it was the hardest experience ever. But when it came time for the show, people were coming up to me like, you have a real natural talent as an actor. And all of a sudden it clicked. Because remember, I told you I was struggling with stage fright as a singer. But as an actor, I ate it up. And I remember all those emotions that I used to feel all of a sudden made sense. Because where else do you go where you need to cry on cue? The stage. Where else do you go where you need to be angry? And let me tell you something, actors, we some crazy mofos, okay? Because I'll do some auditions and I'm in it. I'm crying. I'm in the camera. I'm feeling it. I'm doing it. And then I wait 2-3 seconds to give myself a buffer. And I'm like, that was a good take. Let me go ahead. And it's like, it's insane. But for the first time in my life, this is it. It was an aha moment. I feel like I made sense. And then Karen passed. And I was just like, forget all this. I'm not doing nothing for like a year. Then I woke up the next year because the last conversation that me and Karen had before she passed, she said, Chris, promise me that you will go after the things that you want to go after, regardless of circumstances. And what am I going to do? Deny a dying woman's wish? I said, okay. And so that next year, I woke up one day and I said to my husband at the time, I think I want to be an actor. And he was like, no. And I was like, well.
So you just going to wake up and say that? Nah, baby, I'm all right with you doing that.
He was like, nope. And I was like, you don't really know who you married because I'm not really the no type. But okay. I kept praying about it and it worked out. And I started auditioning and got signed to an agency and just started grinding and trying to learn camera and trying to learn like all the things, just try to figure it out. And essentially everything collided. The social media, the writing, the music, the creativity, the obsession with cameras and camera tech. It aligned in the pandemic, at home bored, and just trying to figure out how to express a message.
That's what I was going to ask you, because I was late to the wave, meaning as far as, of course, you're my cousin, we see each other, we talk, but I was late knowing that you had the following and stuff that you had. Like, I didn't know. You know what I'm saying?
How did you not know?
I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I literally just did not. And I think I was talking to DJ one day and he was like, we brought you up because I think something was coming up. And he was like, yeah, you know, cuz popping on the internet. And I'm like, I don't even know if I have Christal on social media or not.
The shade.
Yeah, I don't even know if you know shade. But if we're not friends on social media, it's not because you sent me a request and I didn't friend you or I see you. I guess we were just not friends. And I think what it was also was the lifestyle I was going off the Christal from back then, and the lifestyle that I had came into and what I was doing. I didn't know about that. I wasn't looking for your approval, but I also didn't want to let you into what I had going on, wondering if Christal approved of this. And
he didn't want me to judge him. That's all it was.
Facts. So I think that was one thing that, like I said, I don't know. I think that's one thing that kept us from being friends on social media but it's not like you popped up in my suggestion. I was like, no, I'm not sending Christal a friend request. Like, that's never happened.
Yeah, sure.
But or it's not like you've never sent me a friend request and I just had you sitting.
I totally believe you. Totally believe you.
But beyond all that though, so when I'm chilling one day and Cam, she's a person we podcast with, she's part of FC Network. She shared one of your videos. And I was like, bro, that's my fucking cousin. Then I start doing research. And I was like, oh shit, cuz made it big time. You know what I'm saying? So when did the following like start? So pandemic was when the following start growing?
Yeah, so pandemic 2020.
And pandemic, that may be why I didn't know, because pandemic was a blur. I mean, meaning like pandemic for me was so fast. And so like it was so much going on during pandemic. Like that was probably one of the best years I've ever lived in my life. So
one of the best years.
COVID year is crazy.
It's a lot of things that I probably missed that I didn't know between that time.
I don't think I want to know what you was doing during COVID, because to be honest with you,
so much. But continue.
So during the pandemic, I was on vacation. I had my 1 week vacation from East Stations, and I was at home, and man, my ex-husband had made a mess like normal, and I was irritated. I was like, I'm gonna just put a video up. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't put too much into it, because I think that's one of the biggest problems with creatives in general. No matter what kind of creative you are, people get in their heads and they're like, it's got to be perfect. And then you wait, and what you put out is not even relevant anymore. Or even if it is relevant, you're always gonna pick it apart, and so you don't push it out as much as you do. And especially when it comes to social media, a lot of times, like, quality is important, but consistency is key. Like, you have to show up. I show up every day in and day out. But anyway, I digress. So I put this video up. I didn't think too much into it. You know, there was a trending sound at the time. Don't get to cussing. And I just scanned the kitchen and he had made a sandwich, and you could tell exactly what he did because he left everything out and everything open.
Like a grown child.
Like a grown child. And I turned the camera back to my face, and my eye was twitching, and people related. Next thing I know, Tabitha Brown is in my comments, and I'm like, whoa, what do I do? How do I capitalize on this? How do I keep this going? And, I had a few videos that flopped after that. Because TikTok, that's the thing about TikTok, is that anybody can go viral at any moment. It's kind of a draw between the algorithm and then just relevancy. And so I kept trying to ride the wave. And so the wave took me from relatable wife stuff to police brutality and justice for Black people stuff to learning about the music business to like wherever the wave took me. I made content based on that, trying to stay relevant. And so what really popped off, this was still during a pandemic, but probably like a year later.
Are we still in the pandemic?
I know it went super fast for you, but for us regular folks, it was a little longer. So this was still during the pandemic, but this is probably like the second year. So it's like 2021. The pandemic was like a whole 2 years, maybe a little.
That's why I asked, are we still in it?
Yeah.
Like,
it was really.
Did they ever say the pandemic was over?
They did.
Oh,
they announced it. But so this was like a year into the pandemic. I had a video go viral about boobs.
I like boobs.
I think I saw that video.
So there were actually two videos that went viral about boobs. So the first time I went viral and I had like over a million views. People were talking about my mask. They're like, "Oh, did you make your mask with a bra?" And I was like, "Now be for real." Because I'm looking down. I'm like, now y'all really think? And so I took one of my bras and I put it over my face. And I'm like, bruh, it covered my whole head. I'm like, you really think that this is one of my bras? Like, and so people, of course, related.
One of those Kanye masks.
Yeah, no, for real. And
talking about boob shiesty.
From there, no. So to make matters worse, of course, now I'm like, oh, I'm about to milk the hell out of this, right? So from there, somebody was like, I dare you to cut eye and mouth holes. I was like, bet. Took an old bra, cut my eye and mouth holes for the internet, right? Not for the gram, but for TikTok. And so then somebody comments on that video and was like, I dare you to wear it in public. Bet. Cool. Did that. That was fun for a while. So then again, just kind of riding that wave. But the video that changed everything, this girl, I think she is a hockey player. I could be wrong. I don't remember her name. But she asked the question, for all of those that are in the that have big titties, what's it like? She just wanted to know. And so I told her. And I said it's ghetto.
That's the video
I do not recommend.
I saw that video.
0 out of 10. It's like having two broke best friends on your front and on your back at the same time. They try to suffocate you when you sleep at night. If you're wearing a button-up shirt and you sneeze with too much enthusiasm, or
a button open.
Or you
I was about to say, I hate that we're talking about your boobs, but like all of this is
she was talking about her boobs.
That's what I'm saying.
I was going along, but
I'm like,
I was thinking about
all great
boobs.
things.
Either way, boobs are inconvenient.
Yeah.
Okay?
I hate that you feel that
they're
way.
annoying and they're inconvenient.
I hate that you feel that way.
But that video blew up. I think it's sitting well over 18 million views on TikTok alone, but it was downloaded and reposted.
It's a lot of titties in the world.
Yeah.
But a lot of big tits.
Okay. All right. So there's that. But people related to it.
Facts.
They relate because I was fun. I didn't laugh, and that video it's funny because I'm known for my laugh now. But people related to that video. The women related to it. The men found it funny that I was talking about. You could say boobs to a man, and he's just like, oh,
yeah,
boobies. And so it was a win-win on all sides. And from there, I started doing reactions, and it just took off from there. And before I knew it, my following was starting to really grow. I went from 40K to 400K in less than 8 months on TikTok. And so I continued to grow on TikTok. I think by the time the year was up, I was at like, let's say 500K. That was the end of 2022. So here's 2023. And I'm like, writing out my vision board, and I'm praying. I'm like, all right, God, we did good on TikTok. We got 500,000. I want to get 50K on Instagram by the end of the year, because we all know Instagram is like the hardest platform to grow on.
Yeah.
I went from 10K to 50K in 3 weeks. I'm like,
damn.
Well, damn, what am I supposed to do now? So now I just started using the same formula that I was using on TikTok and started applying it to Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. And before I knew it, that was the beginning of last year. So by the end of last year, I had more than doubled my following altogether. And I went from 700K in June to 1.4 million at the top of the year. And I think the fastest growth I had seen was on YouTube. I went from 2,000 followers in May to over 200,000 followers in December.
And YouTube used to be easy, but now it's hard to do.
YouTube is hard.
Yeah, YouTube is super hard now.
And so I know you mentioned organic. I know you mentioned organic content. You know what I'm saying? Creating that, just put it out there through consistency. But what do you think, outside of, like you said, the virility of certain posts that you put out there, where do you think that following came? Was it just the consistency, people seeing you regularly? Like, again, you said you used the formula. I don't know if you want to give the sauce, but like,
you know, I give a little. You give a little. The rest is not for free. You got to pay.
For sure.
But you know what I tell everybody who is interested in getting into the social media realm, the influencing realm, you know, I already said the biggest key is consistency. But the secret sauce, I never feel bad about sharing for the free, because it applies to every single person. Your secret sauce is you. There is no other person on this planet that is you. And so I don't feel threatened by people trying what I do, because nobody can ever be me. I can never be you. I can never be you. Like, we are our own individual people. And so what I do primarily are reaction videos. I sprinkle in some skits and some parodies and some product reviews and different things like that. Some, you know, whatever. I have a variety of content, but the bulk of my content is reaction videos. It doesn't take a rocket science to react. But my secret sauce is showing up as myself. People feel like I am, you know, I got the older crowd who feels like
ego. Oh, my bad. I just had to get that out there.
you had to.
Saint Benedict type song.
Like a burning passion on the inside.
Anybody ask you who I am? My bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You want to get the rest out?
No. I'll do it after the show.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I know we kind of like muting R. Kelly, but that used to be my joint.
Who's?
I love that song. Well, that's a whole other conversation.
I was about to say.
That's a whole other
But you
conversation.
know what's crazy? I don't even honestly.
Uh-oh.
I'm not gonna say anything crazy, but I wouldn't even say we're muting R. Kelly, because when did you ever really listen to R. Kelly? Meaning, like, he used to be on the radio. You might have ran through an album or something, but when even when R. Kelly had the latest stuff going on, nobody was listening to Kels no more like
You
that.
say when Kels came on, niggas would be like, oh, dude, it's Kels.
They had
Niggas wasn't like, hey, turn that
the
Kels on.
Yeah, they had only made it to where you would hear Kels at not even then, not even that.
Receptions,
and it'll be
family
certain
reunions,
songs that are
like,
undeniable.
It was songs that
You can't
it was like you
deny
can't deny
I'm
that
the
Kels
greatest.
song. He was talking about God in the song. No matter what he was doing, he was talking about God in the song.
Listen, I'll say this, and then I'll move on.
For sure.
Kels is undeniably one of the most talented creators that probably has existed.
For sure.
His mental state aside, you cannot deny his talent. Like, it's
Pied Piper.
virtually unmatched. And so I'll leave it at that. I have a deep
facts.
appreciation
Yep.
for his creation.
For sure. Keep it rolling.
But
Back to your awesome creation.
But yeah,
Creativity.
so it's really just showing up authentically. Like what I do, doing reaction videos and, you know, reading, laughing, and people comment about it. And I'm like, thanks for boosting my content. You commenting and arguing back and forth with me does nothing but get me more views. So I appreciate you. Thanks for
You
the
be
share.
having the people in your comments that be
Trolls.
tweeting
Oh,
with
what?
you.
I get all kinds of trolls. Like
Yeah, I was gonna ask you
I'll
that.
actually get to the dark side of social media.
Oh man.
But yeah, it gets real dark and spicy.
I can believe
and
that.
a little musty. But yeah, like it takes no rocket science to do what I do, but people can't emulate the way I do it.
For sure.
And I think that's the thing. Like, people always tell me all the time, you know, I got the older crowd that calls me their TikTok niece. They call me niece, or like I have the younger crowd. I have like a lot of younger followers, Gen Zers, and who come to me and they're just like, you're like my big sister.
Those who the TikTokers are right now.
Yeah.
Those young ones.
The young ones. And on YouTube too, I get a lot of like, when I went live on YouTube last time, like people were like, oh, can you say my teacher's name? And I'm like, how old are you? They're like, oh, I'm 8. I'm like, oh.
Say your teacher's name.
Like,
why do they want to hear their teacher's name?
I don't know. When we were younger and 8, we said dumb things too. Not that that's dumb, kids. Like, it's fun. It's weird, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And so like, it's my personality. The personality that you all always saw. When we would get together, like that has not changed. If anything, it's just enhanced. And I think people get to see that through my sense of humor. Like it's not just that I'm laughing, but it's what I'm laughing at, what I find funny.
So we were the first people to get the preview. When you used to leave home and come down to Helen's house,
pretty much.
that was you back then.
It
was rehearsal.
Yeah.
It was rehearsal.
For sure.
And I feel like my social media is a giant game of Cards Against Humanity. Because the key to that game is not so much figuring out what you think is funny, but what the card holder would think is funny. Like what appeals. And so that's kind of what this is that I'm telling a story about what my humor is through what I react to. Because I don't react to everything. Some people send me stuff and I'd be like, that wasn't really funny. It was kind of like, you know what I mean? So yeah, it took off. It grew. You couldn't have told me 4 years ago, oh, guess what you'll be doing full time. Like I would have never guessed, but I'm grateful for it. It has completely changed my life. I have seen more planes than I would have ever dreamt of just traveling. I've met more people. Oh my God. The people that I've met has been insane. You know who I realized followed me? Somebody messaged me and said, did you know that Anthony Anderson follows you?
Oh,
and I was like, no way. And I looked, I was like, he does. And I sent him a message and I was like, yo, I didn't realize that you followed me, and I didn't believe it until I saw it. But like, man, I'm a big fan of your work. He was like, yeah, accidents happen, and I accidentally followed you, but I'm stuck now. Here I am. I'm like, yo, you crazy, But it's just like people that I grew up watching, and I'm like, you follow me? Like that's weird, Or this past weekend when I met Jermaine, who played on Stump the Yard, Fat Albert, The Great Debaters, he walks in and I'm like, all right, keep it cool. Like, Giovanni is my homegirl. I'm used to being around her. I still sometimes pinch myself like I used to watch this girl on all that. And like, we'd be FaceTiming every week. But, I'm like, all right, keep it cool. So he puts his hand out. I'm like, yo, I'm Christal. I'm a big fan of your work. And he was like, man, I'm a big fan of yours. I was like, you know who I am? He's like, yeah, I was just watching, your movie Left on Red last night. And like, I see your videos all the time. And I'm like, what? So I went to Instagram. Dude's been following me the whole time. I'm like, this is nuts.
Yeah, you don't check your followers, actually.
Well, my notifications go like that. Like,
you're not opening all those DMs, huh?
Oh, no. So that brings me to the dark side. Great segue. So the dark side of social media. I first got a taste. This was probably like 2 years ago. I had a video that was going viral where I had stitched this one girl. She was being dragged about having an opinion about who she dates. She basically was like, if I'm not attracted to you, I'm not dating you. And people were dragging her in the comments. And so I stitched it and I'm like, when do we get to a point where women are not allowed to have a preference? Like, we have eyes. Should we not also be attracted to our mates? Like, I know society has, by and large, pushed this narrative that women just need money and security. And I'm like, oh, okay, but my eyeballs though. Like, I'm going to need to be able to look at you because I don't want you on top of me and I can't stomach the look at you. Like, no. And so
on top of you is crazy. Let's not speak like that here.
Oh, but you're saying boobies.
Oh, yeah. I didn't say they were on my head. Oh.
Anyway.
Whoa.
So people went crazy. I'm talking
over
about
that?
Oh my God. I'm talking about, oh, you got some nerve talking when you're barely a 2. Look at that hairline. You're got male pattern baldness.
Shit.
You're a receding hairline. Then I started getting like really ugly messages every so often. I don't get them very frequently, but you should just go ahead and kill yourself. FUB, all kinds of stuff. And it was so anxiety inducing. I had to turn my notifications off. I was like, I can't. It was giving me crazy anxiety. I couldn't sleep. I was like, no, this is not.
She thought people were then watching her.
Like, it was just the anxiety of seeing these negative comments. Because remember, I got bullied relentlessly in school. I never in a million years would have thought I'd be getting bullied as an adult.
Facts.
Yeah, and on the internet.
On the internet. And I mean, keyboard warriors be worrying. You know what I'm saying? Like, they be, And it'd be like, you don't even have a profile pic, my guy. What are you doing?
And
Talking about user 2397833ZWW.
I will never forget.
Sorry,
I'll say
Christal.
this, and I'll let you.
yeah.
This one guy went ham on me one day for that same video, because that video just would not die for the longest time. I'm like, please, just go away. This video, I mean, this guy went ham talking about how I'm barely a 3. I couldn't pull nobody. He can't believe I'm even married, all of that. Boy, I went to his profile and I was like, you knockoff Drew Carey looking. I know you head ass. You talking to me? You look 9 months pregnant. Talking about you barely a 3.
Somebody pulled you,
please,
and got you pregnant.
And so what allows you to now separate that? Because like you said, first and foremost, a few things that you've mentioned, talking about therapists, talking about mental health in this is super important. And this is something else that, again, I would be remiss if I didn't say. Christal, I hope wherever this journey takes you, this woman that you are now, you keep her with you. You stand in that, because I feel like this is going to be the woman at the end of it all that's going to be able to smile back at herself and be like, hey, you knocked this out the park from yay high to about yay high, because, but
it's okay. I'm mostly leg, but I'm fun size.
Having that experience, though, how do you manage the mental health and or wellness of having the good comments and the bad comments? Because again, at the end of the day, it's a spectrum, and I could see how people lifting you up too much can throw you off balance, so to speak, but also having those people that are trying to tear you down always hits a little harder. So talk about the sauce? How do you manage that? What's the sauce to that?
Well, first things first, I keep God first. I definitely got to stay prayed up, and I journal. I still journal pretty regularly. Shout out to my therapist, because without her, I quite literally probably wouldn't be here. I unfortunately struggle with anxiety and depression. I keep it no secret that mental wellness is very important to me. I regularly go to therapy. I advocate for therapy. And I do have my people that I talk to. I have struggled with suicidal ideations. I have dark moments. I've recently had dark moments. And if it had not been for the support that I have, I would have tried to figure out how to get out of it. But I think aside from that, the things that keep me balanced, one, my promise to Karen. I always remember that conversation. And whenever I do something or I accomplish something, I always think of her. She's my why. She's the reason I got this tattoo. Keep going. Because on those days where I really just didn't feel like it, I would get that, keep going.
Chick finessed me into this bracelet, but continue. Well, that says keep going.
I like that she did it.
Yeah, I wear it every day now.
What does she mean when she gave it to you by keep going?
I'll tell that story, Christal.
But I think about Karen and Auntie Barbara for that matter, because Auntie Barbara always said, Christal, you're gonna be on TV. You're gonna be on TV. And I hate that she wasn't here to see it herself.
She got the perfect view.
She does. But her and Karen were always rooting for me in that capacity. And so, just remembering that. And I think I remind myself quite often, social media is not a real place. So keeping that into perspective, that even though it has changed my life, and even though it has revolutionized the way that we connect and we build community, because I have community with people that I haven't met yet, that I'm just friends with online, and we have deep, in-depth conversations. I've connected with some incredible people that I never would have met had it not been for my platform online. But I just remind myself, it's not a real place, because people show up in a way that they probably wouldn't show up in person. Not me though. I totally show up the way that I am because I just don't have any sense. But so I remember that. I remind myself of that. And then I think one of the biggest things added to that list is just reminding myself of my why. And I think that's what keeps me grounded. While I am very appreciative of the way that I make money and I take care of myself, it's not about the money. It's about the impact. So there are certain messages that get through that really keep me going. Two that stick out in particular. Recently, this 16-year-old girl sent me a message and she thanked me for what I do. And she said that you set such a good example for young girls like me. And I really appreciate all of your content. And, that did something for me because I pride myself on laying a certain foundation for those coming behind me, And then there was this one lady who reached out a couple years ago. She sent me a message, a voice note, which, from a stranger could be weird, but in a voice note.
It could be, it's not.
I mean,
it's weird.
It could be, but I listen to it. I try to interact with my followers or whatever. That just sounds so weird to say my followers. Yeah. But she was just like, I've been really struggling with depression and I've been considering ending my life. But I found your page and I watched a few of your videos and I laughed for the first time in months and I think I want to live.
Oh, shit.
And that just like, wow. To know that just being myself and people just feel joy and want to live. And I'm like, how selfish would I be if I take that away?
For sure.
And I know that I'm fulfilling my purpose. I know that I am keeping my promise to Karen, but I'm also keeping my promise to God to not die empty. And I'm showing, and my favorite part about all of this, for the longest time, y'all know I was super involved in church. I did all the church things. But for whatever reason, I still felt like I didn't fit. And it wasn't until I realized, like God told me a long time ago, I'm called to the unchurched. And I'm like, yeah, whatever that means. I never in a million years would have guessed that it was this.
Yeah.
And like this has led me to have conversations with people, to encourage them, to, tell them like, I'm rooting for you. I believe in you. Like, don't give up, like all those different things. And I'm literally walking in purpose. I'm happier than I've ever been from the perspective of, being a creative. Do I still struggle? Of course, everybody does. That's just life. But I keep myself grounded, just reminding myself of my why, making sure I stay in therapy, making sure I stay grounded in faith and writing. And I always tell people too, when you create stuff that you love, because there'll be days that you don't want to do it, but if you love it, you'll do it anyway.
Nice.
Well, with that being said, is there anything new we should be expecting? Any new movies? Any new music? Any new?
Ooh.
I'm pretty sure you're making content every day and dropping stuff on
yeah.
TikToks, Instagrams.
Definitely.
But as far as, like I said, I saw your Tubi movie. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Shout out to Left on Red, Barry Brewer. I always struggle saying his name. Barry Brewer Jr. Wrote and directed that film and starred in it. And that was my first feature film that I had a supporting role in.
You pissed me off playing 2K.
Listen, okay. I don't play games. All right.
She dubbed the nigga though.
But I do have another film that'll be coming out later this year called The OG Boot Camp. And I'm very, very excited about it.
You playing a gangster?
No.
Oh.
It stands for the Orgasm Gap.
Oh.
A word. Yeah.
This coming out
Orgasm
on
Gap.
Is this coming out on? Where is this coming out at?
Oh, that's to be determined. We will let you know.
Okay.
But this was probably one of the absolute best projects I'd ever been a part of. It is a mockumentary. It's hilarious. And it talks about the disparity between heterosexual men and women, because there is a 30% gap in achieving orgasm during sex. 20%? It's 20% now. So the study that we based the film off of probably is a little bit further back. But either way, 20% is 20% of the time that you are enjoying yourself more than I am. It's a problem. So, yeah, we explore that. And we talk about how to have these conversations at different stages of life. And I'm incredibly proud of the work that we did and really excited about this film. There's so much coming with that. So stay tuned for the OG Boot Camp. That's a game changer. And there's talks of a part 2 to Left on Red. So justice for Skelly. I actually, this is an exclusive.
We love exclusives.
I'm returning to the studio next month.
Okay. New music coming soon.
New music coming soon.
And with that, before we wrap, closing out with a precious perspective, one thing or a couple things that I just took from this, understanding organic relevance in your creative craft. I think that as creators and creatives, like you said, sometimes you have those moments where it's like, yo, I don't feel like doing this. I'm not really, life be happening. And speaking from personal experience, these last maybe 2 months for me, I think life has really been like asking me like, you had enough yet? You know what I'm saying? And when you're a creative and you come to that wall, being able to, like you said, organically be yourself, because you really can't be anybody outside of that, and build the community around you that'll happen subconsciously, because eventually you'll have people who, because you are being genuine, because you are being authentic, people will see that, people will relate and resonate. And so I think that in the space where you have the opportunity to show up organically and easily with yourself, with the people that you love and value, don't miss that chance. Don't miss that beat. Always take that opportunity. And so with that being said, I'm going to say, Christal, we thank you so much for coming through, blessing us with your presence. Let them know one more time where they can find you on social media platforms and wherever you want to be found.
You can find me at your local Starbucks waiting for a sugar daddy to come and buy me some coffee. No, I'm just kidding. You can find me online at Christal Luster. That's CHRISTALLUSTER on all social media platforms, or you can visit my website, christalluster.com. And yeah, thank you all for having me.
Of course.
We thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come make time for us. It's
okay. The bill is in the mail.
Oh man,
yeah. The bill.
Shorty, I offered fruit snacks and
invoice,
cookies at the beginning.
The invoice is in the mail.
It is also in collection. Sue me
for that. I'm gonna have to release the tapes.
Oh man,
I'm gonna release the tapes.
Please do not release the tapes.
Listen, I got pictures to prove of the fashion show. I'll just leave this little teaser. You know, we were quite the entertainers when we were kids, and you know, Boogie over here has he has quite some skeletons in his closet.
Sounds crazy.
How he can show up. Let's just say he's very versatile.
Oh man,
He's very versatile.
We will not do
He's
that.
talented.
With that being said,
And this guy and Precious, what he can hide in.
hey, with that being said, Boogie.
This is Bonding with the Boogie with a precious perspective, and we are out.
Okay.
I was about to say. Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Christal Luster. Just wrapped up a new episode with Bonding with Boogie and a precious perspective. And I'm going to share an untitled piece that I'm still kind of working on. It's a work in progress, but just a reflection of that crazy dating life. My shoulders bear the scars of weights I've had to carry. To be honest, it's scary. Double D's ain't cheap. Doubt and depression keep my pockets empty, trying to find a cure. And sure, on the outside, many men behold my bosom a source of comfort and joy. They long to employ them for personal pleasure, ignoring that they're tethered to a broken heart. It's that part. All this focus on what's in it for them, this obsession with skin and bones. Yet I'm alone, like Rose stuck out at sea with a dying Jack. Anybody got a life hack for being found alive? Because I'm dying inside. Heart slipping beneath the tide of tears crashing onto my chest. There's no rest for the giver when all people do is take. I'm out here loving when I know what's at stake. Being reckless with fake niggas who don't know how to behave with me. Or is it bravery? taking chances for the possibility of romance, keeping hope alive, even if it's just hanging on by a thread. If you find me emotionally dead, just know I died trying. I loved, crying tears of sorrow for my heart, the martyr. Is it worth it, Miss Carter? Being dangerously in love? I guess I'll find out either here or above in a life beyond this one. That's that piece.